2021 has been a big year, some big challenges, some big answered prayers, just a lot to reflect on. While the Emily Awards are always jam-packed with makeup talk, I thought this year I'd open them up the way I start each day, with my gratitude journal, sharing 3 things that I appreciate. Feel free to share yours in the comments section. So here are my 3 things in my gratitude journal today. Number 1 is health. My personal health, the health of my family. This is something where, I don't know, in my prayers, I'm always kind of praying about, the health of my mom and dad, for example. And this past year, I don't know if all of you are familiar with the fact that back in the summer, late in the summer, my dad had to have a triple bypass heart surgery. It was a super scary time because COVID was really spiking here. The hospitals were so full that at one point we got word that they wouldn't be able to do it around here. He did get transferred to St. Louis, which was, kind of a blessing because St. Louis has some amazing heart surgeons there actually. But it was just very concerning, the thought that there was 1 bed available there. I mean, he squeaked in. And another thing that really adds to my gratitude for looking at my dad now and thinking, wow, you're going to the gym again, you're golfing again. Here's another thing that makes this so incredible, and I never really shared it because I don't know if I was too scared to say it out loud or acknowledge it, or just, I don't know if I thought I brought more reality to it by making a big thing about it. I don't know. But back in June, he was diagnosed with a slow-growing, low-grade lymphoma. So that's a cancer of the blood. And the reason why that came about, he had seen a hematologist because he was coming up with low red blood cell counts, and it was really affecting his energy and just the ability to do all the different things that he had done before. And when that diagnosis came out, in one way it made me feel good, okay, we finally know what's going on, and it's very treatable. But on the other hand, it's this is cancer, this is scary. And I mean, I went through a lot of personal, in my head, spiritual, just a lot of stuff this year regarding that, and some amazing things have happened. He had gone through 2 rounds of chemo. He was about ready to go into a 3rd round of it when he had the heart attack, basically. I mean, he had severe chest pain. It wasn't a terrible heart attack, but it was enough to send him to the hospital. They did the heart cath and they realized what was really going on there and that he'd need a triple bypass. I didn't really plan to have this big long story in here, but I mean, this is been my life. Anyway, after he got out of that heart surgery, after he went through some of the recovery with that, he had another, what's called a PET scan. It's a very, very detailed look at the body. He also had a bone marrow biopsy. That's just kind of checking on what's the status of the lymphoma in the body. And the PET scan came back clear. Head to toe, the most detailed look at a body you can have. And then the bone marrow biopsy, his hematologist oncologist said it was like he's never had it. He was slated to have 6 rounds of chemo. He got through it in 2. That also did a number on his kidneys. He'd been in the hospital a couple times with potassium issues because of chemo's hard on the body, as anyone who's dealt with that knows. And he was about to go into a 3rd round of it, but he didn't actually even need it. That was when the heart attack came in. The heart issues were solved. And then to find out that actually 2 rounds of chemo took out that cancer. And it just I mean, guys, I love makeup and everything, but I'm on another realm this year in terms of my gratitude for health. And then my mom had emergency hernia surgery exactly 2 months after my dad had his heart surgery. And she's now out on the other side of that. That's the kind of thing where that's a super common routine surgery for hospitals to do, to repair a hernia. And fortunately, when they got in there, it was basically the most basic repair that would have been necessary. They didn't have to reattach intestines and do different things like that. But if she hadn't gotten into the emergency room when she did, she could have died from that. She was feeling so sick for a couple of days and thought it was a UTI. I mean, just the stress, the strain, and now to feel hearing my parents back here, like playing with my kids. My dad is back on the golf course. They work out every day at the gym. As soon as my mom got clearance, they're walking. They're very active people. It just means the world to me that we have health, that they have their health. To say that my relationship with God has grown in this past year, like I'm trying to keep from crying. Like, this is the Emily Awards about eyes, and I'm just going to blow my eye look all out today. But I can't really put into words in this short amount of time what this year has been like, mentally and emotionally. And I'm fully aware there are many people who don't have those kind of success stories to tell at the end of things. And that's why I'm so grateful to be able to see my parents experience those, major hurdles jumped over and out on the other side. Number 2 in my gratitude journal, I'm going to say teachers. Not only because I taught my own kid for a year at home for her whole year of kindergarten remote learning last year with COVID and everything, but like, I was just thinking about how this is the last week before Christmas break, and they put out little like newsletters and electronic info on what's going to be happening. They've got all these plans for the different days, like fun, festive things for the kids, and I just think that's so sweet. Eve's teacher, Belle's teacher, they're just the kind of people you would trust with your entire life. Like, they are just incredible people, and I'm so grateful that they're in our lives too. And then my third thing, because gratitude journals don't just have to be about the heavy stuff all the time. Sometimes it's just what you're feeling in the moment. But my cozy wrap from Walmart, like, I was cuddled that thing most of the weekend on the couch, and I'm all like wrapped around with it, and it's just like the perfect thing for me because enough of my arms get to come out to where I don't feel overheated. So I love that. I'll link to the video where I modeled it for you. It's really good stuff. Okay, we need to lighten things up here. We need to move on to the Emily Awards. Thank you for letting me pour my heart out there for a couple minutes to you. But yeah, it's the Emily Awards for eyes. And will there be some repeat winners? Yes. Are repeat winners boring? Well, I don't know. If you want to constantly hear about new things, go jump from YouTuber to YouTuber to YouTuber to YouTuber, or watch the people who get to the end of the year and they want to sum up like the best releases of the year, the best new things to come out in the year. There will be a lot of videos like that. That's just not what these are, because to me, what gives them weight, what makes the Emily Awards what they are is comparing back, and old things get compared to new things, and then you really have the perspective of what was the best. Will you have repeat winners? Yeah, we do have repeat winners. I probably had more new winners in the Face Awards this year than any year ever, but I look down my list here and I see a lot of repeat winners in the eyes, and should we be mad about it? No, I'd say if there's a lot of repeat winners, then those are some damn good products. Take note if you haven't already. That's what I say. And that's my opinion, and these are my awards, so thank you very much. Cheers to everybody watching with their coffee. Or whatever kind of beverage you're having. So, my friends, the first category is Best Eyeshadow Primer, and I'm proud to say it's Milani Eyeshadow Primer. I mean, to have something so affordable, to be able to just really have one winner in this category, because it doesn't even make sense to me to pull for a more expensive thing like this is what I'm always using. I do experiment at times, like I've been trying that Milk Primer, but if it works no better than this, or actually at times will crease on me, then, why would I name it? This is the most consistent thing. This is the best thing. You use a little bit of it. That would be my biggest tip. A small amount, rub it between 2 fingers, and then put it on the eyes. And you will be so pleased with the result, not only in the staying power of your eyeshadow, but the way it makes your eyeshadow show up in a more vibrant way. Okay, so that's a really important thing, and it's important to every eyeshadow that I mention here. It's important to your cheap shadows, your expensive shadows. A primer is a very important first step. Always has been, always will be. I'm not saying Milani will continue to win every year, but this one just really meshes with me. It's a definite favorite product, and if this isn't enough drama for you in this video, I'm sorry, go watch Days of Our Lives. No, I love you all. There will be excitement in some categories. That's just not one of them. Best eyeshadow. Guys, I'm actually going to name 3 drugstore, 3 high-end here, because I figured the eye awards aren't quite as long as the face awards, and maybe I can get away with this, okay? Here's a big one for me. From the drugstore, one of the best finds of the year was the Milani Ungilded Most Loved Mattes. This palette is so much fun to use for my all matte lovers, for my warm tone lovers. I mean, this is a kind of thing where along with that full face palette Milani put out, I'm like, I think they should put it out, continue doing the format, but in different color schemes. They should do those face palettes instead of so warm, they should make some cooler options. I think a cooler option in this would be amazing too. But however, if I were to pick my favorite color scheme, I love these tones, and I'm wearing these today. And I kind of like, I went in starting with some pinks, like these couple of shades, and then I was like, well, I want to dustify it a little bit because I'm wearing this mauve-y top, and so I like worked in some brown. So my look today is basically a mixture of these three plus the brown, and I use that brown to help me blend out my outer crease and my lower lash line, and it just kind of like made it a little bit more murky. But the textures on these, the quality of these is incredible. They blend so well. They're so super pigmented. I mean, I fell in love with this. If you saw the initial video where I tried this, like it was love, 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 love. So, I mean, I think this is a really great little palette. If you like a full matte eye, which I definitely do, it's just total winner. Another thing that I really have to mention, as long as they're being made, I mean, these Profusion 10 color palettes for $5 are an insane value for what you're getting. The quality is so consistently good throughout these different palettes. I'm holding up the Bare one here because I just think like it's so not fussy. It gives you that lighter eye. It doesn't go super dark. This is one of the few palettes where I'm like, yeah, it doesn't have that full like white to black range, but for a really effortless looking eye, this is gorgeous. The subtle gradient between these shades does make them very easy to blend. A lot of matte in here, but 1, 2, 3 shimmers. Within the past couple of years, I think this has been a real favorite of mine, but I also love smoky. I also love some of the more colorful options like violets. The quality in here, it's like, do they know? Do they know they're selling for like $4.98 or something at Walmart? Like, these are as good as high end. Like, do they know that? You need to know that. And my third favorite of the year are the Wet n Wild palettes. Okay, so I really like the 5-pan palettes. The 10-pan probably feels like the most tremendous value to me because, again, $5, 10 shades, not quite as big as the shades you're getting here, but I still love like the color schemes that they're doing. And I've kind of ebbed and flowed with what my favorites have been over time. They've got like a warmer kind of sunshiny one. They've got one with a real deep green. If I had to just nail it down to one favorite though, this Nude Awakening, my goodness. I mean, look, talk about range. Talk about everything you want to do in the scope of a neutral eye. It's right in here. This is something I think my cool shadow lovers could really get into. You do have that burgundy here and kind of like, you know, some bronzy shades, but overall it's not that glaring orangey warmth that's in some palettes. So I think so many people would enjoy this across the board. The quality is really nice. Nude Awakening has been a color scheme that they have put out in different kinds of formats as they've changed their packaging design, but here it is now. I love this. I think this is a great, great buy. So those are my 3 drugstore faves. Milani Ungilded, the Profusion $5 palettes, and the Wet n Wild 10-pan palettes. Now for high-end, a really terrific find for me over the past year. This won't come as a real shock because if you've watched my past reviews, you're like, oh yeah, I understand that. The Too Faced Teddy Bear palette. This one for the Dusty Rose lovers out there. This is like such a great Dusty Rose palette. The range is gorgeous. I love this deep plumminess over here. The mid-tones are just like genius. They're just perfect selections of mid-tone shades to start out in the crease to make it a little more rosy. You've got some kind of goldeny, sort of warm brown, almost like honey mustard type options to take it in a little different direction. These shimmers are very bold, and they also change the whole scope of the look. If you choose to use like shimmery light pink as opposed to the shimmery gold, it's a different kind of look. But I love the compact nature of this. I like a palette where there's like no BS colors. Everything had its place. They've put out other things since this palette, and I kept coming back kind of comparing to this. I'm like, no, this is the way it needs to be. This was a really, really strong product from Too Faced this year. And I just, again, the size is a little bit smaller, and I like that. The pans aren't huge, but I mean, they're really pigmented and it doesn't take a lot of each one of them. So I love that. Now, if you're hearing me talk about all these and you're like, what about some color? You know, you don't have to just use Dusty Rose on your eyes all the time. Did anybody else think the Temptalia and Sydney Grace collab was just incredible. I mean, I'm holding the one in Radiant Reflection Light, which was one of my favorites of the whole scope of what was done here. And it also just exposed me to the fact that Sydney Grace, that eyeshadow quality is tremendous. I should link to the video where I did like a whole blue eye with this look. I kind of called it getting out of my comfort zone. And I had so much ease blending blues. Like it just, the quality is so superior here. And the jewel tones, I mean, they are really fun shades. You don't have to pop them all at once. You could say, well, I'm just gonna have a little pop of green in this look, or I'm just gonna work in, you know, a little bit of that garnet kind of color, or just one of the blues at a time. But you're free to do whatever you want, but this quality is just like outstanding. Really, really good. I'm kind of surprised like I'm not mentioning Viseart among my high-end favorites, because I do love their palettes, but I just kind of feel like in the past year I haven't used them as much. I'm still impressed by anything I've ever named as an award winner, obviously, but it's just this kind of jumped out and said, hey, look at me, Sydney Grace, Taptalia, amazing. Now, one more high-end thing that I will mention, and this is for my basic people out there. Not everything has to be a big palette. What about the Clinique duos? Okay, so there were many things this year where I felt I dug back. You know, I shot my stash a lot. I didn't necessarily seek out all the brand new things, and I looked for some things that had been around for a while. And these all about shadow duos, especially the one called Day Into Date. Like you can check out my videos on them. You can check the tutorial, but this is actually a really unique color here. It's almost like a brown with a little bit of rosiness in it. It's so pretty. I also love the one called Strawberry Fudge. That actually comes off like not quite so pink, but a little more golden, but just like really pretty little basic duos that blend so effortlessly. It's too darn shades, and you know, and you can come out looking like you got a special occasion eye look if you want to, you know, pair it with a little liner, a little bit of a lash, do your thing, or wear them just as is with just a little mascara popped on. I love these duos. Love them. They were a great discovery, a great thing to really fall into this past year. So we've gone through eyeshadow, talked about tons of great formulas and products from both high-end and drugstore. Now we're going to move into the eyeliners. Gosh, as I look down my list for these next few categories, there's so much drugstore, you guys, because I think I kind of felt like I'm not going to dig for a high-end favorite if I don't have one. And I've just been using a lot of drugstore in these realms. So for best eyeliner, I'm going to name two types, and they are both drugstore. A liquid Milani Waterproof Stay Put Matte 17-Hour Eyeliner. Now, I have been using some pens lately, like you've seen me use Wet n Wild Breakup Proof and the NYX Epic Ink. I do love those. If you need to use a pen style liner, get one of those. But if we're talking the most extreme staying power here, and I can still, you know, get it off at the end of the night, don't worry, but blackest black, most extreme staying power, this stuff. Childbirth tested, mommy approved. I'm wearing it today. Like I would be able to have gone into a full-on cry during my intro and this would have stayed, okay? When I'm putting 100% black products on my face, I really want them to stay. You know, staying power, very important there, and this stays. So need I say more? It's very good. Repeated award winner too. And then a new award winner this year, if you're looking for a really long-wearing pencil, the Maybelline Tattoo Studio Gel Pencil Liners. This is really awesome. This is a very black pencil. It is going to be the kind of thing that you sharpen. Even though it seems like kind of a plasticky pencil, you will sharpen it. But this is kind of like smudgeable if you get at it quick enough, but it will not move either. So pencil form liner that does not budge. Try the Maybelline Tattoo Studio Gel Pencil Liner. This is in the shade Deep Onyx. Best Lash Primer. Now, if I don't have a drugstore fave, I'm not going to dig for one of those either. I realized I had two lash primers named last year, and the high-end one is just, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it from another high-end brand. There's nothing like it from another drugstore brand. So I'm just going to make it crystal clear and only name the one, and it's Estee Lauder Little Black Primer. This does more than just prime the lashes. This actually helps curl the lashes, like actually retain that curl. It's black, okay, so you're not dealing with white that you have to like cover up after you use it, but you put it on, you don't have to like coat it and coat it and coat it, just a little bit. It almost like freezes the lashes in their curl. So very important in that sense. Another neat feature of this is how it seals. Okay, so you can use this on top of your mascara and you're like, okay, it's a real critical staying power day for me. I don't want anything to flake off of my eyes. You can seal it with this stuff, and it really holds everything in place. You won't have anything flaking off. It's a brilliant product. There's nothing like it. So I would highly suggest that if you have the Curl Challenge lashes, if you just want a good lash primer, or you want something that actually guards against the flaking. Moving on to mascara. From the drugstore, the Essence Lash Princess mascaras have been you know, any version I pick up, I feel like those are capable of making my lashes look bigger than almost anything else, okay? And these are cheap mascaras. They've really made a name for themselves over the past couple years. A lot of people like the green tube. That's the false lash effect. I can wear that one. It's fine for me. I can also wear the newer hot pink curl and volume one. The best one, in my opinion, is the sculpted volume. This one builds up like thickness on the lashes real quick, and the brush looks like this. I kind of like how, you know, sort of short bristles, gentle curve. To me, if I were to pick one of these mascaras that's most like It Cosmetics Superhero, spoiler alert, no one's shocked, but that's the gold standard. This is probably the closest thing to it, okay? But I think it's worthy of being named as an Emily Award because it's a really good line of mascaras. They're very effective, and I think it's so important to have an affordable mascara that you can be happy with, because that's one of those products that you burn through faster in makeup. You know, we're not burning through eyeshadow palettes that fast, but we are like needing a new mascara every few months. So it's nice to have a good solid drugstore pick there, and that's my pick of the year for high-end. It Cosmetics Superhero. And you know, here's another thing though. I've got harder to please lashes than someone else. Like maybe in the face awards, I was able to say stuff like, my skin type doesn't challenge different foundations as much as someone else's might. You know, like I've got a real normal skin type and I can get along well with a lot of foundations. My lashes, on the other hand, they want to be stick straight. They're not that full. They got issues. The mascara that could go on and please a person who's got a natural curl and a lot of thickness and volume is not the same thing that's going to please me. Okay, so if I need to call in the big guns, it's It Cosmetics Superhero for sure. The big story on this would be when you don't have a ton of lashes, and I'm working on that. I'm using my Grande Lash Serum. I'm still using it every night. But if you feel like you're kind of sparse, you don't want to be going through your lashes and raking through them 5,000 times. You need something that's going to basically hit the lashes and build quickly, because the more you rake through, honestly, the more you end up sticking them together. It's the exact opposite of what you want to happen. So you need something that's going to build up fast on the lashes. This is that thing. The length, the volume, it doesn't flake off on me ever. I love this so, so much. Best brow product now. I have best brow category, and then we'll go into best brow gel. Okay, so this is the best brow like fill-in type thing. I'm going to give it up to the Revlon Color Stay Brow Creator. I think this is such a smart product, and when I first came into it, I'm like, yeah, you know, this is nice. And then repeated uses, I'm like, man, this is like so handy. Like, I love this. So we have a skinny brow pencil on one end. I wear this in the shade dark brown, by the way. It's going to fill you in the way your ABH Brow Wiz does. And then if you want to, you twist off here and you've got powder. So you can just kind of go over certain areas. I have like a little scar area where I might just use that powder and real quickly like wipe out my issue there. So I think that's cool. And then on the other end is your spoolie wand to get it all raked through. So it's like a 3-in-1 little brow situation. And I think that's so smart and it works so well. Staying power is good. Love the texture in this pencil for not being too dry, not too creamy. Just great, great product, okay? And then my high-end favorite is kind of a unique thing here. It's the brow micro filling pen from Benefit. You've heard me rave on this. This is what I use to fill in my brows today. So we have a little forked 3-pronged angled tip. Can't believe how long this one has lasted me. I still haven't had to get a new one, but you got those 3 tips. And my issue with brow pens is that so many of them have no pacing whatsoever. So like you touch them to your eyebrow and suddenly you've got way too much in one spot. And I think that can really be bad for the people who need the natural fill-in the most, because maybe they don't have a lot of hair there as is, and having a real like blob of this ink on their brow area just doesn't look right. So you need something that's going to be easy and gradual. I swear, you just kind of hover this. I hover this around my brow and it fills in so perfectly. The tone is perfect. It's medium brown for me. Now, something to note, this is not a holding product. This doesn't have hold. This does not freeze in place. It's strictly a fill-in type of tool, and I think it's just really, really easy and without a doubt the best pen style product like this. There was another thing that looked so much like this. I want to say it was from L'Oreal. Did not perform the same. I mean, I've tried a lot of different things that would seem to be a dupe because I've been talking about this for the better part of the year, and I just can't come up with anything that's better. Best Brow Gel. Say it with me now. Maybelline Brow Fast Sculpt. I've been talking about this all year as one of the smartest products on the market. So it's Drugstore. I wear it in medium brown. Yep, it's all about the brush, you guys. Okay, this holds like nobody's business, but what's really important is the brush. One end of the brush, the bottom side here, has very, very short bristles, and one end, the top part, has longer bristles. So it can do two distinct functions out of one brush. The shorter bristle side carries more product. It lays down more product faster. So if you have to fill in one certain zone, you can do that with this brush. This can be the finishing step, or this can be the entire process, okay? So you take that shorter end, and if you've got that one little area, you know, you can really hit it with that spot and make sure you get product there. Then you have your longer bristle side that is just not holding as much product in there. So you can use that to just kind of gently sweep up through. You're still going to experience all the hold even if you just use that longer bristle side. There's still product there. It's just not as much can lay down at once, okay? So if you want to fluff up that inner part of the brow, I mean, if you just want to go over everything, I use this almost every day. I don't know how I haven't used it up, but it is by far like probably the #1 best brow find that I've had of the year has been this product. The decision to do the brush that way. I liked Glossier Boy Brow. I liked e.l.f. Wow Brow, but now this has a reason to be like far above that. #1, it holds amazingly well, but also that brush that gives it two distinct functions in one itty bitty product. Like, it's so good. But I also want to name another favorite here, and this is also Drugstore, because I know some people don't want a tint in their gel, and NYX Control Freak is really where it's at for just the clear gel that holds like nobody's business. I mean, just get you one of these. I recently repurchased one just to give it another try again, see if it still held the way I remembered, and it does. And I realize some people have a very favorite pencil that they use, or, you know, it's just the right shade or it's just the right texture for them, and that's great. But if you just need to finish it off with a colorless gel, this would be it. Maybe I could also use it on some of these baby hairs that just want to like stick up here. Yeah, I honestly have some of that in my hair right now. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for watching my second part of the Emily Awards. I hope you enjoyed part 1, and this part 2 was really fun for me also. I also wanted to share on my lips, I'll put this stuff in the info box too, but I'm wearing this beautiful shade of the Maybelline Superstay Matte Ink Crayon called Trust Your Gut, and I thought that was so pretty with like the slightly rosy eye and like the mauve-y shirt. Doesn't that work well? Oh, and eyelashes. I forgot. I almost forgot. I am wearing some lashes today, and I wanted to give a lash favorite. #1 most dramatic lash. My favorite dramatic lash is the Kiss My Lash But Better and So Real. You've seen me in these throughout the year. They're a really great lash, a really durable lash, lots and lots of wears in a set of those. But also for a little bit lighter lash and just a really fun way to like sample some different styles, the Kiss So Wispy curated collection. Today I'm wearing this bottom set that would seem to be the longest, not necessarily the thickest, but definitely the longest set, that number 10. So I think those are super pretty. I definitely trimmed them just a little bit to make them fit my eye. And by trim, I don't mean trim the length down, but trim from left to right, so it's not like too long for my eye. But yeah, definite false lash faves. Gotten tons of use out of these this year. This is a little bit newer to me, but both great drugstore finds. So thank you again, everyone. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. It's the Emily Awards for Lips coming up. Have a great day, everyone. I love you, and I'll see you soon.